Paige Bueckers has signed a deal, a 3-year deal with Unrivaled before she's even been drafted. And obviously, she's going to be the number one pick in the draft tomorrow evening. But she signed an Unrivaled deal for 3 years. And I, I, uh, I don't even know how that's news. I don't even know why ESPN has this in its news cycle when they didn't cover Unrivaled for the entirety of the Unrivaled season. But I guess Kendra Andrews was born. She's the writer of this story, as she's reported that projected number one overall pick, Paige Bueckers, is signing a 3-year deal with the 3-on-3 league. Unrivaled sources told ESPN Sunday that her first year's salary for the 10-week Unrivaled season will exceed what she would make in all 4 years of her WNBA rookie contract. Sources said, welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way, Women's Basketball. We talk facts over feelings. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmat, and I am here to talk to you about this. I appreciate y'all jumping on board. Please do subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet, and hit the like button on the video, hit the bell on the subscribe tab, and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts of Paige Bueckers signing a 3-year deal with Unrivaled. I mean, to me, it means utterly nothing. It was expected. Don't really understand the idea of a 3-year deal and why that's even announced if you don't have collective bargaining. You don't announce their actual salaries. You don't really tell anyone what's really going on. You don't really ever lift up the hood of the car and show people the engine. But Paige is going to make 78, 831 in her first year in her WNBA contract. Big deal. We already know it. She's going to make $2-3 million or more in sponsorship deals, endorsement deals. Who cares? Like big deal. They make a point. It's funny how ESPN words a story to make it about like it's Unrivaled versus the WNBA. Listen, the WNBA being drafted number one in the WNBA draft still has merit. It still is an earned thing. It still has credibility. There's only so many people that get drafted number one overall in the WNBA draft or are even first round picks for that matter. And the way they word it, it's like they completely want to dismiss the value of the WNBA and being drafted number one. Unrivaled is a gimmick league. It's not real basketball. Do I think players can get better doing it and get in better shape? Hopefully, even though they were in pretty awful shape this past year, yes. Do I think they can improve some skills that will translate to the WNBA in real basketball, 5-on-5? Yes. But this is still gimmick ball. This is not real ball. And positioning it as such is just disingenuous. So stop comparing it to the WNBA. It's not the same thing. They are also given liberty to give money away. They had a whole bunch of money thrown into their pot this year when they first started. And of course, they made some claims. Have they shown you books? Like they say they exceeded 27 million in revenue, more than double what it projected to investors, yet it still lost money. It did not break even. Think about that. It did not break even because they've announced that as well. So it didn't make money. It did not bring a return on an investment. I don't know where these $27 million came from. Where? They only had 850 seats. Where did this revenue come from? Jersey sales? They just went on sale and they were sold out in a week, a lot of them, or a couple days because they only made so many of them. How many jerseys do you need to sell to make $27 million in revenue? How many tickets you got to sell? Think about that. Let's just look at it from one perspective of tickets. 27 million. They had 3 nights a week for 10 weeks divided by 30. So 30 nights. So they did 900,000 in ticket sales potentially. No fucking way. We know that's not true. So obviously they're talking about television revenue. Well, how'd you make TV revenue? How'd you make money? Maybe TNT brought in money, but how did you make money off that? See, this is why it's like it's smoke and mirrors. It's hiding behind the curtain. You don't really know what's what. When you don't have a CBA, nothing really has to be put on paper because you're not a unionized sport. You're not a unionized sport. Yeah, you owe response to your investors. You're still a private company that is not subject to actual reporting to the SEC or what have you if you're publicly traded, which it's not. So this is just whatever they want to tell you. More than double what so you projected 13 million revenue and people still invested in that shit? Is that what you're telling me? You projected $13.5 million in revenue and people invested in this shit. We weren't born last night, people. But now apparently the league, instead of focusing on expansion through adding teams, why would you add teams to this? Think about this shit. Adding teams? Why? Your entire concept was built on 30 players. Now 36. Another 15 or 20 added through injuries. You got close to 60 players. The WNBA's got 144. Add 12 for the Valkyries. 156. You've got more than 1/3 of the league in your league. You're going to expand teams? No, you're not. That would be lunacy. It says, no, the league now wants to build on what it felt made it successful in year one. So successful, in fact. Sign the best women's basketball players and provide them with a premier resources and financial support. The resources, yes, those resources that was supposed to get these women in shape. And yet they probably spent most of their time having margaritas and daiquiris on the beach, on yachts in Biscayne Bay, because they were not in shape. So yes, naturally, they want to bring in the best women's basketball players because the best women's basketball players are the ones that will draw people to watch, to actually give a shit. It's one player. It's one player. Can they draw Caitlin Clark? They're making a push for Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson, the top priorities. Can they draw Caitlin Clark? You got to understand something. You got to understand something. Do you want to have a career, or do you want to have a bunch of jobs? Caitlin Clark is a professional basketball player. The reason these other women chose to jump into this was the opportunity to make real money, good money that they're not making. That means they're not making it in the league in salary, and they're not making it in endorsements because most of these women have no endorsements. Most of the current players have no endorsements. See, that's the difference between the players that are in college. Because of the NIL structure now, they're coming in with endorsements. That's why, to me, staying in school for some of them just doesn't make sense, because you already have the people behind you cutting you checks to be on television for endorsements, where name, image, and likeness, where now you already have it. So it's a little bit different. Some of these players that are already in the league, a lot of them, in fact, if they walk by you in the street, you would have no idea who they are. I guarantee you, for the average person, heck, the average WNBA fan that watches one team, I would bet you this. For the average ESPN personality, for the average CBS Sports personality, for the average FS1 personality, 75% of the WNBA players could walk right by them on the street and they would have no idea who the fuck they were. I'm telling you right now, they could walk by Shinya Gumake, Drea Carter, Monica McNutt, and all the rest of them, and they would have absolutely no freaking idea who these women were. Maybe with those 3 or 4 women, half the league. But for a Stephen A. Smith, he wouldn't recognize 95% of them if they walked right by him. He would not recognize 95% of them. So when you look at this situation here, it's a one-player deal. Can you get Caitlin Clark to commit to your league? But the reality remains, she has a career in the WNBA. There is zero benefit whatsoever for Caitlin Clark to jump in to Unrivaled for what? For what? To lose 3 months of her vacation? To lose 3 months of her opportunity to get better as a player when in the off season? For what? Did you see how many players were dropping like flies? Angel Reese just got a cast taken off of her hand because she got messed up at the end of that damn thing. And she's lucky she didn't have it wasn't worse because they kept it real quiet. Players have been, there's a player, Batanji Laney Hamilton's lost for the season. Or Betnasia, whatever her name is. Betnasia, Laney Hamilton, lost for the season. Paige Bueckers is jumping on board. I get it. She wants to be part of the crowd. She wants to be included. She wants to feel welcome. By signing right now, she kind of gets them off her back and avoids that type of negative treatment that Caitlin Clark probably, did have, that she doesn't want to have a possibility of being treated in that way. So let me go sign up with Unrivaled right now because I did have an NIL deal with them. Again, how are you giving sponsorships to players in college? I don't know. I know Flau'jae Johnson has one too. Again, I don't understand it. You got college players selling your professional sweaters and T-shirts like it was blew me away. Bananas. But this is about providing premier resources again and financial support. Okay, what are we in a financial literacy class? Get a fucking financial advisor. Like, what are we talking about? But I'm out of breath right here. I'm just like, I can't. They did not talk about this fucking league for 3 months. For 3 months while it was going on. They did not do a report on it for 3 months while it was going on. And now all of a sudden, they're going to do a write-up on Paige Bueckers signing the day before the draft. It's good timing. It's definitely good time. It's printed at 8:21. It's 10:01 p.m. right now on April 13th. It really went to publish just over 90 minutes ago. Bueckers brings another star name to a league that has prided itself in tapping into top WNBA talent. Her multi-year deal is part of the league's effort to build a sustainable offseason playing opportunity. Why do you need to do it? This is my question. What benefit does this league do for you if you have a career in the WNBA and you are compensated because of that said career? Now, I don't know what the numbers are because they're not going to tell us. Again, they're not lifting up the hood to show us the engine. They're not telling us how many millions of dollars they're paying her with investor money to get her to play, even though we already know that her presence doesn't draw viewers. We already saw what her presence did in the NCAA tournament. She doesn't draw viewers. She's not that type of player. There's only one box office player in women's basketball. I keep telling you that shit. You don't want to listen. It's Caitlin Clark. A'ja Wilson is not that person, no matter how bad her fans want it. There's one player that changes the television dynamics and the television numbers of that league. And it ain't A'ja Wilson. It ain't Paige Bueckers. It's Caitlin Clark. So they can say all the shit they want. No, you're not going to grow teams. Why? You want to add 2, 3, 4 more teams and to be a 10-team league? So now you'll end up having 90 players of the 160 in the WNBA. Half your fucking league will be in the WNBA. It'll be like watching a shittier version of the WNBA. I mean, hell, it was a shittier version this year watching it. And it had your top 20% of your players overall. For the vast majority, it was the top 20% or so of their players. Of course, there was a few here and there that didn't play, but the vast majority was the top 20%. Like, oh, come on, man. Come on. Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness. This is just, ugh. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But you let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you care about this? Do you not care about this? Does it mean anything realistically? Are you surprised by it? I'm not surprised by it. I am intrigued at the fact they wrote an article about it and published it on ESPN the day before the draft. Probably try to draw interest into the draft. Again, if you have a career, I'm gonna ask this question to you, and I'm gonna leave it at this. If you have a career and you're making $5 million to work for 6 months, well, really 6 months, you have your salary, but then you have all your endorsements, and you're making $5 million overall per year when you include your endorsements. Because your endorsements exist specifically because you play professional basketball in the WNBA. If you played in Russia, no one would give a fuck about you here. So if you have those $5 million in endorsement dollars, and I'm just throwing a number out because I'm going to presume that's probably what Paige Bueckers will be making next year in endorsements. I know Caitlin Clark probably broke 10 million this year, and I know that Angel Reese probably broke 10 million, probably around that same number as Caitlin Clark in terms of endorsements, maybe more. It's possible because she has a lot of endorsements, but and her crowd really, her fans really gravitate to that shit, like the social shit and all that stuff. If you make that type of bread, why are you wasting your time in this shit? Like, why would I want to do that? Can you imagine LeBron James after the season in June, or let's say they lost in April and they're playing and they're done with their season in April. Can you imagine LeBron James like from July to September playing in some other league? Like that would be utterly ridiculous, right? Steph Curry, hell, fuck any of those guys. The guys that make $5 million a year, $10 million a year, who largely don't have endorsement deals, because NBA players that make $5-10 million are nobodies for the most part. They're not big name guys. They don't have endorsements. No one cares about them. No one's buying a product because of them. So why would you, if you're making $5 million a year in endorsements and salary from because of the WNBA, why would you risk that by playing in some fucking podunk gimmick that makes no sense? Unless the goal of the Unrivaled League is to become a 5-on-5 league. And maybe that's why the hood has not been lifted. Because maybe the goal at the end of the day is to become a 5-on-5 league. And they're doing it a slick willy way. The reality is no one watched this shit. No one watched this shit because 3-on-3 is gimmick ball to most people. And the viewership showed you that no one watched this shit largely. They can lie all day and throw up all their graphics that they want. I watched it. I saw the numbers. Numbers are in your face. They weren't good. They can't sit here and lie to you and say they were great when they're being outdone by Disney Channel bullshit. When they're the lowest rated show on television every Friday, Saturday, and Monday for almost the entirety of the season. But you let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys say. This is Rudy's Rant. Her Game, Her Way Women's Basketball. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you didn't know so. Ring the bell and leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Come on now.